What's going on, people, and welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with Guni and Younes, and we are here to discuss the potential hiring of Antonio Conte and the sacking of Nuno. But obviously, before we do that, make sure you do like, share, subscribe, and leave your thoughts down there in the comments. And I do have one more extra link as well. I have started the Twitch page, so I would very much like it for you guys to hit that link button and make sure you follow. I've had a lot of requests for, live streams and watch alongs. At this point, I can't ignore the requests. So I thought instead of YouTube, let me go down the Twitch direction, follow the good direction of my friend Younes here and one or two others, Matisse and that. And let's see how that will go. But yeah, Younes, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
Yeah, bro, I'm good. I'm good. Congrats on the Twitch. Yeah, man, everyone hit up his Twitch. Make sure you're following there. And yeah, I'm good, man. Everything's nice on our end. And then we're getting all this news of our neighbours up in North London. And let's face it, we're not that phased, are we? We're living our good life. So
Yeah,
I'm good.
exactly,
Regardless of what happens, I'm
exactly.
good.
Do you know what, Younes? There's always a bit of the couple of minutes worth of flexing a little bit that we are top of
Yeah,
the
of course.
table. You're
You
three
have to.
points clear after this weekend as well. Capitulation from two of our closest title rivals. So it's looking good, man. We're good.
It's a great weekend. It was a great weekend, man. Yeah, as you said, like I remember we were watching the game and Chelsea was struggling to score, and I could see Liverpool winning. Man City were losing. And I thought, if Liverpool win, Man City get a result, and it stays like this is going to go left. But
Yeah.
we ended up scoring three. Then Liverpool let in two. Then Man City let in a second. And then Liverpool let in a third, but it was offside. And I'm thinking, that would have been perfect.
I know.
Everything went great for us. And right now we're on cloud nine, man. It's lovely.
But I say this though, Liverpool are not out of the woods yet because their next fixture is West Ham away. And Man City are not out of the woods either because their next fixture is United away. So, and our
Yeah.
fixture is Burnley at home. So if we capitalize on that, and fingers crossed we get a similar or even better result than what we've had this weekend with both teams taking the L, we're 6 points clear at the top of the table.
Big
Different
time.
conversation then, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is what I'm looking for, man. I'm looking for us to try and build up a gap. We spoke about the fixtures last time we were here, and I remember I said, like, if we can get a gap up until the January period where we know it's going to get a bit difficult, if we can just try and build some sort of a cushion, that way we can fall back on it just in case, then we'd be in such a good place.
Yeah, these next few weeks are going to be very interesting, and I'm quite optimistic that we will still see Chelsea at the top of the table after Christmas and into the new year. But obviously, we've got the gloating has come to an end now. We do have to talk about those guys up the road with our former manager being linked with them. But first, we have to go and talk about Mr. Nuno Broken Spirito De Santo, who has been sacked from Spurs after just 17 games, 9 wins, 1 draw, 7 losses, and 5 of those defeats in the Prem. 4 of them were London derbies, and one obviously was the game that got him fired against Manchester United. And on top of that, Younes, they had the second worst in both shot and chance created in the Premier League, as
Yeah.
well as running like the second least distance, or the worst in terms of like distance in the league. So it was the writing on the wall for him.
He shouldn't have got a job in the first place. And we all knew this. We all knew this. When it happened, we were like, Nuno, really? Like it shouldn't have happened in the first place, man. I mean, what's funny, what's peak for him is that fixture against United was dubbed El Sacico,
Yeah.
and it's actually resulted in a sacking. Like, no one really thought Nuno was going to get the chop. Everyone had their eye on Ollie, and he got caved 3-0 against Ollie's United. And even I was thinking, they're not going to sack him now, not just yet, surely. And they've gone and done it, man. So, yeah, El Sacico was a real thing. As I've said, Nuno shouldn't have got the job. It's been 4 months. I mean, realistically, when you get a manager in, to sack him 4 months down the line is stupid.
Yeah.
So you can look at it from that point of view, as if, like, today, when you look at it at face value, it's a stupid decision. But the fact that they're now going to be looks like they're getting Conte, we'll get into that. But Nuno was never right for the job in the first place. Never. It was Jose Light. We called him Jose Light, beating Jose, all sorts. Like, we all knew this was going to happen this way. So I don't know how Tottenham didn't see that. I really don't. Baffling.
Nah, it was. I mean, everybody knew except, well, I think even Tottenham fans knew that signing him was just an absolute knee-jerk reaction because they did indeed go for Conte first. That was his first. That was their first choice. Conte turned them down, and it looks like currently he was flirting a lot with Manchester United. But United, for some strange reason, but to our benefit and to our amusement, decided to stay with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And Conte looks like he will not be going there. So Tottenham are taking advantage of that.
There's a little, I read like a little theory, and I think back to when it happened, and I'm like, you know what? If we connect the dots, maybe this is actually legit. You remember when Jose got sacked? It was still the time of the Super League.
Yeah.
And Jose was actively against the whole Super League thing.
Right.
And that was still going on. That hadn't been squashed yet. So Tottenham in their heads were thinking, yeah, we're going to go and take part in the Super League. We're going to be minted with how much participation money we're going to be getting. We were all meant to be getting astronomical amounts, weren't we?
Yeah.
And Tottenham were one of the clubs. So they actively sacked Jose, I believe, thinking that they could just afford to sack Jose, pay him his compensation, get another manager and it'll be okay. And then they sacked Jose. Super League went down the drain. That got called off, shut down. They tried to get Conte, didn't happen. They're thinking, crap, we've got to get someone in. So they've gone for their, fifth option, Nuno.
Yeah, that's it.
If that is how they've actually done it, they honestly, it's a shambles. That club, Daniel Levy, Enik, they don't know what they're doing.
No, I mean, we've known that for a while. But what I will say is if, and I say if because it is not yet official, and Spurs, if there's anything in this world that can bottle anything, it's Spurs. So it's not 100% done yet. However, if they do end up hiring Conte, I will give them a 10 for their ambition, because that is a manager that I got to put respect on his name. Everywhere he has gone, he has revolutionized and he has won stuff. Fabrizio Romano has been tweeting, obviously, speaking about the Conte situation. And he says here, Antonio Conte is ready to accept Tottenham's proposal. The talks are underway and understood to be at final stages. The salary and long-term contract discussed, but he seems convinced to say yes. Negotiations to continue in the next few hours. And apparently, according to DiMarzio, one catalyst of this deal is the fact that Paratici is the director of football, and they had a very close working relationship while Conte was at Juventus. And obviously, we know he enjoyed success. They both enjoyed the success together at Juventus. So there already is a positive sign of a working relationship there, because that's something that I was a bit skeptical about when it came in terms of the transfers and Tottenham and Conte, because of his ambition, obviously. But I think that the director of football has sort of facilitated this move, and there has to. Do you think? Actually, let me ask you, Younes, do you think there has to be some kind of agreement in terms of, a transfer budget has been laid out for Conte and promised to him for him to join the club, or do you not think that that's something that's going to be too important?
There's two sides to it. So there's the fact that there's a transfer budget just on its own. It's easy for Levy or any club to go and say, yeah, we've got this amount of money. Yeah. And Conte will look at that and go, all right, nice one. It's how you spend that money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's the problem isn't the fact that there's money. We know Tottenham have money. If they want to dip in, they can go and get that money. It's not a problem. I still don't think they're going to be going after 200 million, 300 million. I still don't think they're going to plug that out, because it's Daniel Levy, it's Tottenham. They just don't do that. But they might have promised Conte on some sort of level, yeah, we got the funds. You want funds? We got funds. Don't worry, it's okay. And just try to convince him to get the job, because they are that desperate. Now, it's how you spend that money. So when it comes to the window, if Conte, after seeing his team, then goes, all right, I need a player in that position, that position, that position. I want that player, that player, that player from that club, that club, that club. Daniel Levy, these are the names I want. If Daniel Levy goes, okay, I'm not so sure we can get you that, but with this money, we can go and get these players, we know Conte's still going to get pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wants his man. I don't think he cares about how much he costs. He's like, I want this player. Get me that player. I don't want no other. You remember with us, man, we ended up with a window of we wanted Alexandro, we wanted a few other lads. We ended up with Zappa Costa. We wanted Lukaku. We got Morata.
Yeah, it was the most. I think as a Chelsea fan, I've never suffered as badly under Conte's reign for transfers. It was absolutely horrible. It was Morata for 70 million, Bakayoko for 40
we had the
million.
money, we just spent it wrong, completely wrong.
Drink water for 35 million. Batshuayi for 33 million. Kante, if we paid fucking 500 million for him, I wouldn't give a shit. It's worth every penny. So that's the best thing that he ever did for the club. David Luiz, 32 M's. I'm not going to be too disappointed about that. Rudiger, 29 M's. Not disappointed about that. Zappa Costa for 23 M's was wild. Alonso looks like he's still at 23 M's. Giroud done his job for 18 M's. Emerson was a bust, 17.6 M's. And then you got Barkley, who I think everybody knows at that time for 15 million, that was just a business decision because there's resale value on that. And the fact that he's English and his age and all that, the risk was his knee injury. But in my opinion, that's still very good business because we're definitely going to sell him for more than 15 M's. So it's just like I mentioned those signings to say that you've just highlighted the main thing is the money isn't the problem. Is that if Conte says this is the guy that I want, that's the guy you better get him. Because because if you don't get him that guy, he won't go for the second or third choice. He's gonna go for the worst choice and with no resale value, as he's done to us many times just to prove his point. But like Younes, what are we gonna see? So let's say hypothetically, Conte has signed the contract. What are we gonna see differently on the field from Tottenham? What do you expect to see?
A bit more motivation, a bit more pace, a bit more energy to their game. 100%. He's definitely going to lift the spirits. In that first season, there will be a good atmosphere in that camp, and we know this. Now, what's crazy, and this is where I look at us and I look at Spurs. When Conte came in, and even Inter Milan, to an extent, when Conte came into us, we had winners in that team already.
Yeah, people tend to forget that. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, we had players that had just won the title, not the season that went past, but the one before that.
Yeah.
Right. Adding a few players that we've mentioned, he went on to win the title again. But when he came in, there wasn't a problem on the pitch. There wasn't a problem in terms of the football. We were struggling on the pitch because of the whole morale at the club with things going on behind the scenes. That destroyed everything with the physio, Eva, court cases, this, that. We remember what happened. It went left. Spurs don't have that. I mean, they might have problems in terms of boardroom and whatnot, but their problem is actually football.
Yeah.
They don't have the minerals in that team. They've got some good players, but as a squad, it's weak. It's weak as an entire squad. It's not a winning squad. So I look at this and I think there's major surgery needed on that squad. You're going to get players that Conte looks at and goes, nah, you're just not good enough, or you just don't have the right attitude. And I think there are some players in there, if we start picking out, maybe I think Dele Alli will probably be one.
Yeah.
You remember the documentary on Amazon with him and Mourinho? Mourinho gave him a talk of a lifetime, right? Gave him proper dad advice. Yeah. And he still didn't pick that up. Now you're coming with Conte walking in with no sympathy. You saw what he done to Diego Costa. He ended it over a text. That was Costa.
Yeah, that man's ruthless.
Bruv, he's ruthless. He will destroy you and let you rot, and he wouldn't care. And that's where it can go left. That's where it can either work for the manager and he'll get the whole dressing room on side, or it'll break the dressing room immediately. So it's very volatile. It's a very volatile situation. But Conte, I think, at first will probably lift that spirit, get everyone on side, or try to. We'll see them go to a back three at some point soon. They will have to go to a back three. That's another question. Do they have wing backs? Because if not, that system's gonna fail from day one.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing though, and this is the thing about Conte is that he might just make use of what he's got. You never know. He might just turn the last person you thought about into a top quality wing back. You saw we did that with Victor Moses. Never in a million. Remember when we started, we saw him as a right wing back. We was like, what?
Like, where's this guy been?
Yeah, and exactly, and then we understood why. So this is, I don't put that past him, but with the back three, definitely, we're gonna see that. That's like the stamp of Conte football, that Catenaccio kind of style. You get me? That back three, and then, but this is my thing, yeah, because that guy Romero that they signed from Atalanta, he was
Yeah,
actually one of the best. Well, I've spoken to a few Serie A fans over at the Football Factory who watch it week in, week out, and they've openly said that he was one of the top centre backs in Serie A at the time. And
yeah.
if he works in the back three, that you're gonna see the best out of him. Now, with obviously I'm not saying that they're the best options, but Davison Sanchez, Dyer, who I think is absolute dog shit. But I think under Conte, we're going to see some kind of. I think they're going to be a lot more disciplined at the back.
They
They're going
have
to,
to be. Yeah.
yeah, they have to be. That's the basis of his football as well. Because Conte, you know, as well, he when he came to us, he had that run of 12, 13 games. We were shutting out teams. I think we're going to see that similar with Tottenham, and then obviously you've got the options up front. Now, here's another place where I worry because you've seen what he's done with the profile of striker like Harry Kane, and then with another profile like Son, in similar to like Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah.
If he gets that right, that could be an issue. You see what I'm saying? So, like, me as a Chelsea fan, I couldn't give a shit. Our eyes are on the league. But like when I'm looking at teams like Man United and Arsenal now, they could potentially be in the mud over this if this goes to plan over the next couple of years.
You know, you make a good point with the whole Son Kane comparison. That being subject to obviously Kane's mental state, because Kane's problem right now isn't that he's just turned into a crap footballer. He hasn't. He just doesn't want to be there.
Yeah,
That's it. At that club. Now Conte might change that, but if he doesn't, Conte's got a problem from day one. So we'll wait and see. I think Conte will fix him mentally though, because Kane has to get over it at some point. He can't just stay like this forever. So there is definitely a threat with that up top. In terms of the other clubs though, Man United are in the mud, man. Yeah, for real. They are actually stuck with Oli forever.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, yeah, they're getting Conte. This is where, in the short term, yes, clubs like maybe Arsenal might be affected, but in the long run, I just don't see it working out with Conte at Spurs. I like in about a season or two, we know how this is going to shape up, and I just don't think it's gonna work in the long run. So temporarily, these clubs might be in the mud in terms of a season or two, but after that, Spurs will come back down.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that the issue that Conte tends to have is if it's not the board, it's just that because his desire for work rate on the pitch. For a season, it's good, it works, but like when you go on beyond the season and that, it starts to pick up, it starts to show in injuries and it's draining, and that's where relationships starts to get just strained. Players saying to the manager, "I can't," but then the manager saying, "But you've got to." And then that's when things go to shit. And I think it was a similar situation with us.
It was.
You know what I mean? We were doing well, and then going on to the next season, you could see that fatigue was catching up.
There was the whole preseason, was it preseason, I think, where Musonda collapsed on the pitch.
Yes.
Because he couldn't, like,
he was, what was he asking him to do? Like some crazy shuttle runs
it was some mad, intense physical drill, and he just dropped. He's like, I can't, my legs have stopped.
Yeah, so you see, there's those issues that will turn their head, and then and it's like we were saying, it's the temperament issues because the public fallouts he had with Diego Costa, then the public fallouts he had with the board. It can go left very quickly with that man. So that's why I said to you before we jumped on camera that Spurs, on the face of it, yes, you signed a good manager and a proven winner, but I agree with you in the long term. I don't see it working because Spurs don't have what Conte needs for it to work.
Yeah, exactly. And especially right now, like that whole point of what Conte demands, he needs to come into a team where he's already got at least a good amount of players that he knows are willing to put themselves through that pace.
Yeah.
Put themselves through those moments. That still, Chelsea had that. As I've said, we were winners before Conte came. There was just one bad season where it went left because of behind the scenes stuff. But we had winners, we had personalities, we had players that had been at that level. Spurs have not been at that level. And I just don't... he can't. He's not a miracle worker. He's not going to come in and change 22 men into Super Saiyans. Right?
No.
No, he's going to need transfer windows. He's going to need selling and buying and getting other players in and kicking players out. I just don't see it going well because he's going to need one hell of a checkbook, and Daniel Levy's not the man to give it to him.
Yeah, and I think, and do you know what I think needs to happen? I think Spurs fans honestly need to manage their expectations as well, because it's based on what I was saying. Because look, when you look at the contrast of what we're asking here, it's like we previously mentioned before. Spurs, in terms of their work rate and the distance that they've ran in the Premier League, is at the bottom. It's literally they're on the floor, and then you've got Conte, who's an advocate for being a workhorse.
Exactly.
He wants that. So this is what I'm predicting. Whether I'm right or wrong, this is what I'm going by my sense. If they're the lowest in terms of their cardio, I expect them, with this intensity of training going up, they're going to be packed with injuries. Because we saw something similar when Lampard came into the team. Do you remember? Yep. Like there was a price at us, outrunning teams and being able to press like maniacs. We saw a lot of injuries. So the similar thing can happen to Spurs. And the difference is with Spurs is that they don't have the depth that we have.
Exactly. You're spot on. It's a case of having to keep that consistency so high for so long. And Spurs don't have the minerals for that. They don't. And that's where things can go wrong. You talk about expectation. Like when Mourinho came to Spurs, everyone was like, yeah, you know what? They might actually win something, right? Even at United, it went wrong at United. Yeah. But even there, he didn't win a league title, but he did win a Europa League. He did win a League Cup. He got something, right? Yes. Went to Spurs and for the first time in his life did not win a trophy. Right. Bearing in mind he got sacked before a cup final, which was stupid. Yeah. But Conte, you could say something similar now. Everywhere he's been, he's won. Every single time he's ended up at a new job, that first season, he's won the title.
Yep.
Right? Inter Milan, did he win it in his first season? He did, didn't he?
I'm not too sure. They'll let us know in the comments, though, if we're right or wrong.
But he won the league title.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
you just know he's going to go to Spurs and not win the league. You just know it. We all know it. We can see it from a mile away. He's not going to win the Premier League title with Spurs.
So that brings me to my question, Younes, and I don't even think Daniel Levy or even the Spurs fans know themselves. What is the expectation / target for Tottenham Hotspur? What is it? Because at least we know, all right, we're fighting for the league. We're going to try and retain the Champions League. Anything else after that, to me personally, is a bonus. Similar with Man City, similar with Liverpool. Arsenal's might even to be win an FA Cup and qualify for the Champions League. What is Tottenham's?
Tottenham for this season need to try and get top 4. Right, go as far as you can in a cup competition. That should be it. Right, and obviously they're playing the Conference League, so don't know, you want to win that. I mean, they're third in their group at the moment, so they're gonna have to salvage something. I don't know, but that says it all with Tottenham. But anyway, that's where they are. Top 4 this season. For Conte to succeed, the formula literally needs to be this, right? You get your expectation by the end of the season. Let's say top 4. Yeah. You get into the summer. Daniel Levy needs to go to Conte and go, so what do you want? Tell me. Right? And Conte goes, okay, I don't want this player, I don't want that player, I need them gone, I want this player, I want that player, I want that player. Can you go and get me those 3? And he goes, yeah, no problem, cool. Goes off, gets them, sells a dream to those players, spends however much is needed, whatever the price, brings them and goes, here you go, Antonio, we're here if you need anything else. And he goes, okay, no problem, thank you so much. And you have to keep it like that.
That's it.
If you don't keep it like that, it goes left. Yeah, and completely. That is unsustainable. When I think about it, in the long run, it's unsustainable because unless if Tottenham are willing to take the bullet, if they're willing to spend over their normal amounts, if they're willing to just completely give Conte whatever he wants, you're giving yourself a chance in 2-3 seasons to compete for the title.
Do you think that's why United possibly swerved Conte, because they just knew that they had to keep up with the demands? Because I get the impression from the United board that they're similar to the Arsenal board in terms they want a yes man in that position who will say yes sir, 3 bags full, and take the media brunt of everything and continue with their job. That's how I think that they're being run, which is why, like, I'm not too surprised as to why they didn't go for Conte, because now if he starts asking the right questions, it's going to be a bit techie between Conte and the board already. You see what I'm saying? So
completely.
Yeah,
Also, with United, there's the whole influence of Alex Ferguson. There's still people around there that are maybe willing to give a little bit of time to Ollie to try and fix it, at least give the opportunity, and then see what happens. And in that window, they've beaten Spurs, but they've lost Conte in terms of an option. So I don't know if that was planned in terms of United. Maybe they just wanted 2-3 games for Ollie to see. Maybe they were going to go for Conte after that. I don't know, but now they've lost it. The other thing with Conte and Spurs is the players that he already has.
yeah,
So on top of Daniel Levy and the board or whoever giving Conte whatever he wants, they also need to go into his demands in terms of the players in the team. So if, for example, in the squad, he comes with 2 or 3 players that he goes, I need them gone. Their mentality is wrong, right? They're just not going to give me anything that I need for this team to succeed. Can I get rid of them? That's where Levy and them not go, yeah, you do what you want. You want them gone? No problem. We will get rid of them. There's why? No. We reckon you should keep that guy and then start causing a rift, because that is where the end begins. You literally need to give him 100% liberation to do whatever he wants with the squad that he has and the players that he wants to bring in. If you don't do that, he will fail. 100%.
In terms of his relationship with the fans, because obviously while Conte was at Chelsea, he was a popular figure, very animated on the touchline.
Yeah,
So
very.
he celebrated every goal with us, and I loved him for that. But the fact that he's gone to Spurs is very disappointing, to say the least. But it is what it is. Like in this day and age, look,
Yeah.
it might be a harsh word to use, but 99% of these managers are mercenaries. They go where the money is, or they go where they think they're going to be successful. And when you look at it in real life, in the black and white of it, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's still, in terms of the football rivalry, it's still a bit of a madness for me.
For them, it's work.
Yeah,
It's as
that's
simple
it.
as that. It's like me or you. We're working at a company, and we get an offer from another company with a bit more money and a bit more stability or a bit more security. We're going to be like, yo, sorry guys, I'm off. Here's my notice. There's no loyalty, even in terms of the jobs that we do, unless if it's your own company or you have a long-standing bond with them or whatever. It's the same at that level, and even with football. I mean, yeah, from the fans' perspective, we see loyalty, but for them, it's a job, it's a profession. So if they move from one club to the other, they feel that's what's best for them or their family. We learned that with Jose, and that was the one that hurt and kind of opened all of this up to us as Chelsea fans, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we realized, now, you know what? It's not how we all believed it was.
No, exactly. That was really, because up until that moment, you know what? I think I was just being naive.
Yeah,
I just wanted to believe, but then that was a symbol. Yeah, you're right, Younes. That was a symbol for us, because at that point is when I said, yeah, it's over. That day is done and dusted. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you see, one area, because I know the Spurs fans are going to support Conte, and I think that in itself could spell a problem for the board later on down the line if things go left. But I think the one thing that might frustrate Spurs fan is that lack of plan B that Conte has, because that was what killed us, especially that second season, man, where we finished 5th. It was like, once it went wrong, that was it. Once the other team scored first, that was the end of it. It was just like, fuck, we are not getting 3 points.
That was such a bad season, man.
Yeah.
That was such a bad season. I even remembering it, I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, man.
You know what's mad? This is about the levels. Terrible season. We still won the FA Cup, and we got 5th for European spot. That was a terrible season for us, and that just shows you in terms of the standards, Tottenham are not on that level.
No.
With that season, everything was wrong. And yeah, on the pitch, even in terms of the plan B, as we all wanted, we was like, we don't have a plan B. We get figured out, it's done. Now, Conte at that time at Chelsea, for example, was coming up against teams that were still playing normal 4 at the back kind of formations, normal silent systems, but they were just finding loopholes. Yeah. What comes now when you're playing against teams that have a back 3 and have mastered their own way?
And that's what happened, because I don't know if you remember, Younes, but when Conte started being successful with the back 3, every team
everyone started
had a back 3.
Literally. Yeah, but they hadn't mastered it. They were copying. It was pretty much like, oh, that's worked really well. Let's try and do the same thing. And some did well with it, and some didn't. But now you're getting look at Tuchel's Chelsea. It's not Conte's Chelsea. Like, yeah, we play with the same formation. You could say it's the same formation. It's a completely different system, though.
Completely.
It's executed completely differently. We're not a defensive team on the counter attack. That's not
No,
what we do.
exactly.
But it's the same formation, but
It
it's a
is,
completely different
yeah.
approach. And it's not just us. You look at other teams that have gone and find their own way. It's going to be interesting to see how Conte adapts coming back to the Premier League, because it's not the same like it was when he was at Chelsea.
No, absolutely not. For me, what will be a success for Conte in this first season, with all things considered, because you got to understand we're 10 games deep,
Yeah,
and Spurs have dropped a lot of points. Um, if they finish, if they finish in the top four, definitely it's been a success.
yeah,
If
100%.
they finish, if they finish in a Europa League position, I still think to some degree it is a decent success for them. But for me, it's like, is that as far as it's gonna go for Spurs? It's like a potential maybe Europa League Cup and then Conte gone. Is that it? Because that's the best I can see happening, or possibly a League Cup or an FA Cup or something like that.
Yep,
Max.
yep. This is where you look at Conte being given an 18-month contract. It's
Oh, I
it's
didn't know
already.
that. Is that
Oh,
what the
yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah.
is?
2023. That's up until 2023. So 18 months. And that's the end of the contract.
You know what? I think given Conte's previous litigious nature, I will
Yeah.
call it. I think that is actually quite a shrewd move from
It's a wise
Levy.
decision.
Yeah,
Financially, it's a wise
yeah.
decision.
Obviously, like some people might be thinking, what the hell are you talking about? Listen, we've had experience. This man, what his severance pay at Chelsea was ridiculous. I think he still owed the severance pack at Inter as well. So,
Yeah,
like,
yes, yeah.
yeah, this guy is about his money. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, if you don't give him what he wants, he's gonna reach in for your pocket and he's gonna take it all.
I think Chelsea are still paying him. I'm not sure. Is that? I mean, because he won the court case. I don't know if Chelsea are still paying him now.
Hey, but knowing us, it wouldn't surprise me if Marino or someone came up with some kind of technicality because he signed for Spurs that we're just not paying him. That'd just be hilarious.
We can send it on a postcard to Spurs. Cheers for that. Thanks.
Yeah, or that, or we can just send them Danny Drinkwater and say, yeah, here we go. We
This
call
is
it
our
quit.
gift.
Yeah, you need a midfielder. There's one. Call it quits. There you go. Nah, that's
But
it. But
yeah, 18 months is the contract. So when you look at Conte and that stability, or trying to do something in the long run, they're definitely not going to do something miraculous in the short term.
no,
What's going to happen after that? I mean, history shows, if we just look at history, it doesn't work out for Spurs in terms of winning stuff. So
no,
do
it
I see that
doesn't.
changing? No. I
No,
don't.
absolutely not. You see, my expectation really is not for them to win anything, because that's just nature. That's just how it works. Spurs win nothing. But what I'm asking, the only thing I ask Conte to do this season is, please, if there's anything you can do this season, just beat Man City, beat Liverpool, and you can do nothing all season. That's it.
And we'll
And
see him on the 22nd of
yeah,
Jan.
and that's it. And yeah, you'll be scheduled for your regular whooping from us, but please just win the other two
Exactly.
games. And yeah, and maybe that we can call that damage control. How about that for going to Spurs? We'll call that damage control.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Younes, actually, I think I've covered pretty much most of the stuff I wanted to talk about on Antonio Conte. But me being a dad, I've got duties to go and pick up my daughter from her kindergarten, and then I've got my son to pick up from his other playgroup thingy that's going on. So yeah, man, Younes,
Quality.
thank
Daddy
you.
cool.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, super dad me. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us yet again, man.
No problem, man.
Hopefully this does go to shit and it provides us with more entertainment in terms of the managerial front. I mean, 2021 for the neutral has been absolutely brilliant for managerial entertainment, for managerial banter. We've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we've had Nuno and Spurs in general. It's just gonna be I think it's gonna be a funny season. Us, we're fine. We've got the best manager in the world. We're just
We
gonna
are so calm. The
Yeah.
stability we have right now is stupid, isn't it? Normally it's us in the headlines. What's going on?
Yeah, and for the
Time
first
has changed.
for the first time I'm kicking back. I'm just like, I'm not worried about nothing. You bring on anybody, I couldn't give a shit. We got Thomas
It's
Tuchel and our squad of Chelsea lads. We're fine. We're
can't
fine.
get better than Tommy T. Good old
No.
Audi TT.
No,
Lovely.
he wins the league this year. he goes down as my greatest manager. With that defensive record, listen. Yeah.
We might do it, I'm starting to think it's gonna happen.
Bro, it was listen, I ain't gonna listen to the people that's watching, yeah. I've been wanting to bring this up with Younes for weeks now, but I've just been shitting bricks because I know how relentless you lot are can be in the comments sometimes, yeah. Yeah, if we get something wrong, you're onto us. But we have been talking behind the scenes and we've been saying, could it actually be us again to break this record? Could it be the season? 10 games in, 3 goals conceded in the Premier League, none from open play.
Yeah, I mean, this time of the season back in 2004, we'd conceded 2, and now this time of the season now we've conceded 3, 1 from open play. So in terms of ratio, yeah, right now if we keep going at the rate we're going, we will beat it because the goal's 15 goals, so we could end up with about 11. But I just hope we don't have one bad game where we concede 5 or something stupid again.
I hope
if
not.
we don't do that, we're good.
Yeah, and I hope it's not like a newly promoted team like fucking West Brom done us. You know what I mean? Yeah, it better not be one of those ones. But what I do know is that if we don't break it, I know we're going to come our closest to in a long while. And if that's the case, it might be likely we're going to lift that Premier League trophy. So the closer we get to it, the more what's that word I'm looking for? Confident I am of us lifting that trophy. But fingers crossed we keep it going. Younes, thanks again. And to everybody, please make sure you do follow Younes if you haven't already. Down there in the descriptions, everything clickable links, all of his social medias down there. Our links are down there as well. And please do not forget to hit that Twitch follow as well, or subscribe. I don't know what they call it on Twitch.
Follow.
That's the one.
You can subscribe. If you want to get a bit of change out of your wallets, feel free.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
He's not saying no.
I'm showing my age here. Like this stuff is like getting new school to me. I mean, I am 32, but damn, like there's so much social media that's just come out now. It's just like flipping out.
It's
How
mental,
am I gonna
isn't it?
keep up? Yeah. But yeah, thanks, Younes, and thank you to everybody who's watching. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, make sure you stay safe. Bless.